Hello, Ted Brooks Jr. here, and the poem I selected for my poetry recitation is A Poison Tree by William Blake. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, my wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it in smiles, and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe bestole its shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. And in the morning glad I see, my foe outstretched beneath the tree. Thank you. I just want to start off by saying I'm sorry that this assignment is late. My family and I have been really sick over the last couple of weeks, and between work and dealing with both of our daughters being sick has been pretty rough. But what it did give me extra time to memorize the poem, which I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this poem a lot, and I enjoyed memorizing it. It definitely has a darker nature and a darker tone to the poem, and I've always kind of had an appreciation for more of the macabre. It definitely has like a Tim Burton, Edgar Allan Poe, even like a Mark Twain kind of feel to it. Before I decided to become a teacher, I actually managed a mortuary for years, so I've always had kind of a deeper fascination with, death and more of the darker side of arts. My process of memorization really focused on repetition, reading it out loud. The thing that helped me the most was recording myself and then playing it back. There was just something about hearing my own voice recite the poem that just helped me memorize it. And the poem itself is pretty easy to remember just because it flows so well. And there were definitely a lot of themes in this poem. There's definitely some biblical connections with Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden, the tree of knowledge, the tree in this poem bearing an apple. But I would really have to say that the biggest theme in this poem is the suppression of anger. And it's really anger, but more so the suppression of anger and what happens to an individual when that anger is suppressed. And the message that Blake is sending is that when you suppress anger, it builds up inside of you, and it starts to really attack the goodness in you, I would say, or it just eventually ends up leading to a dark place, no matter what. And it continues to grow, and in this sense, or in this case, it grew the way that a tree would. And the end of the poem really speaks volumes to the message I think Blake was trying to send, was that if you do suppress anger and you don't talk about it or let it out, that eventually it's going to kill the better parts of you. And I think in a lot of ways that the foe outstretched beneath the tree, when he wrote, "In the morning glad I see, my foe outstretched beneath the tree." Being glad at the death of somebody, even your foe, that's a dark place to be. And Blake's basically saying that, hey, you suppress your anger that way, and it's eventually going to lead to just more anger and more darkness. And there's a lot of there's a lot of ways people struggle with dealing with anger, and I think this poem does a good job sending the message of what really happens to a person when you do suppress that anger. And, I feel like I have a deeper understanding of Blake's intentions and motives behind writing it after memorizing it. And, at the end of the day, I think that, it's really important to understand that, we all experience anger, but it's important not to just let it bottle up inside of you and grow. And, it's a good message. It really is. Even though it may be dark and it may be more of on the macabre side because it deals with wrath and, your enemy or foe dying, because there's definitely a good versus evil battle going on here. And something that I really thought about after, memorizing it and studying it a little bit, that, this could easily be argued that the friend and foe in this poem is really the battle that we all experience inside of us, of that good versus evil, because, all humans are capable of doing really great things, and we're all capable of doing very bad things. And when you allow yourself to be filled with anger, I think that Blake was stressing the fact that, the more anger that you allow to be filled up with, eventually you're going to do something you may regret, or it may consume you to the point where you find joy from hurting others, and more importantly, hurting that goodness inside of you. And once it's dead, it may, that goodness may never come back. So I had a lot of fun with this assignment. Again, I'm sorry it's late. Alicia and I, my wife, we've been working really hard to get caught up. It's just, we've never had an illness at our family like this all at the same time, and it really did a number on us. Just physically, it was exhausting. So thank you, Professor, for the opportunity to even turn this assignment in. I hope that I did a good job, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. Thank you.